Hello everyone, how's it going? It's that trans guy Ben, hello, and welcome to my channel and a special little one-off video I'm doing. Yes, first of all, I'm not dead, woo! It's been a while, it has been a while since I did a video, like 6 months maybe, a while. Yeah, I lost the enthusiasm a little bit, you know, mental health stuff, yada yada, you know how it is, and I kind of dipped out, for a little while. But I'm back doing, because I passed the 500 subscribers threshold. So yeah, I wanted to do a little celebratory video. And I thought, well, I've been doing kind of TV shows, like reactions all this time, up until this point. So why not because this is sort of maybe closing a chapter on the TV show reactions. I think I am going to try film reactions when I do pop back. I'm going to sort of do Christmas first and get that out of the way. But yeah, long story short, I am probably going to dip away from the TV reactions. And yeah, and hello and welcome to anyone that's, you know, been here before and is coming back and saying hello and having a look. Yeah, I'm back to my usual waffling style. I'm already waffling away in an intro. I thought I'd just, sort of close the chapter a little bit on TV reactions and just show you all my favourite shows. And how I rank them and where I rank. So yeah, I thought maybe that would be interesting. It might not be, but yeah, I've done it anyway. Okay, so at the top, we have got MVP, which is, just the ultimate, my favourites, you know, shows I just rank absolutely the best upon the best. Again, this is a more personal list to me. I'm not claiming this is the list, this is the tier list of these shows in the order they must go in. Top tier, you know, they're not quite making it up there. Just something stopping it from going into MVP for me, just not quite there. Deserve a shout out, you know, I wanted to give them a mention. And Mare or Lost Interest, pretty self-explanatory. And then I've put my to watch list. These are like I still got to get round to them. Because a few of these could maybe go into Mare Lost Interest. Like I have actually tried a few of these and it takes a lot for me to be able, especially if it's a long, like running show, you know, it takes a lot for me to sit down and get into it. I know, for example, like The Wire and The Shield, The Sopranos, Where's The Wire? I've tried all them, and I know they're good. I know I'm watching good program, but something distracts me, and if I want to get into it again, I've got to start again. Do you know what I mean? So things like that. But I've not given up hope on them completely. Most of these. Okay, so first up we have Euphoria. Is it top tier? Maybe season 1. Season 2 is a bit of a mess. Yeah, it deserves a shout out. It deserves a shout out. I think that first season probably puts it in top tier, but I think there's just a few little too many plot holes but the music and the cinematography and the acting definitely gives it very high. It deserves a shout out. Bad Girls, it was a prison drama that I used to love back in the day. I am gonna put that into deserves a shout out because it's one I don't think many people have probably heard of. Kind of gritty to start with, and then it got really camp and silly. It would be cancelled 100 times over. It would be cancelled 100 times over today. It doesn't really work with 2022 eyes, but yeah, I liked it what it was from back in the day. So yeah, I definitely wanted to give that a shout out. So we now get to the Ryan Murphy section, I believe. Yeah, all right. Glee's got to be my first Mare Lost Interest. I loved it back in the day when it first started. I think it was around 2009, wasn't it? I think, again, it's another kind of bit like Bad Girls. It was great at the time, and then you look back at it now and you're just like, oh, gold. Music's fire. Like, a lot of the music's fire. I still, listen to a cheeky Glee song now and again. But that's pretty much all it's got going for it for me personally anymore. Like, once Corey died, you know, that was obviously really sad because I was still kind of into it at the time. And now Naya's gone, you know, I won't be picking it up. So, like, Mare Lost Interest is pretty much me saying I won't be sitting watching that through, like, ever again, probably. Oh, see, American Horror Story is hard because it's different ones every season. Some of them, like, it's dropped, hasn't it? You know, I think most will admit that the quality has dropped. I haven't seen any of the newest one yet, and I couldn't finish 10. I couldn't finish the second half. The aliens. Oh, it was awful. I didn't mind the first part. I didn't mind 84. Few in the middle, get a bit slow, and obviously I love the first three. I've got to put it in top tier, I think. I'm going to put it top tier for now. I'm still not sure how I'm ranking these, but I think it's just a bit too all over the place to give it that top notch. But I do have a place in my heart for American Horror. But it will get beat, our first MVP, by Dharma. You know, really controversial show this. I was going to react to it, and then I was like, I don't know, is it in bad taste maybe to react to this one? And then every bugger reacted to it, and they do really well. So, sod's law. But anyway, yeah, I was like, no, I'm just going to watch this one. I want to watch this one in my own time. I thought it was really well made, you know, and handled well. But I am a true crime nerd. You are going to find some more like a crime nerd, just you know, serial killers and things like that. I just find that stuff kind of interesting. There's quite a lot of shows you'll see on here that's sort of centered around crime and that sort of thing. I think it was handled well. I think, you know, and it was pretty, you know, they used a few liberties and a few little tweaks here and there, but I think it was, you know, pretty accurate. One of the more accurate. Everyone keeps calling it a documentary. It's not a documentary. Yeah, it's one of the more accurate kind of shows about him, you know, that I've seen. Evan Peters did a great job, I think. So, and I've heard they are going to do more, like, kind of, he's going to do more kind of heavy hitter monster series. So I am looking forward to that. Like I say, I do like that sort of stuff. But yeah, obviously appreciate different people's opinions on that. The People versus O.J. Simpson. That was very well done as well. I think it probably quality-wise it's up there with Dharma, but I am kind of going a little bit more on enjoyment and that sort of thing as well, not just trying to rank what I think are the best, because that's obviously just going to divide opinion a lot more than me just ranking it how I want to rank it. So yeah, I didn't quite enjoy it as much, but yeah, like I say, I still think it's up there quality wise. And then we've got the assassination of Gianni Versace. I do have a soft spot in my heart for this show. It's not as good. It's, you know, there's a lot of liberties taken. It's Darren Criss just being camp, and it's obviously about an awful crime, and it is one of those where you're like, oh god, this isn't being handled great, but I enjoy it. Pose. Is Pose top tier, or is Pose deserve a shout out? No, you know what? I'm going to put Pose in top tier. I'm going to put that just after American Horror Story. It got a bit rushed, I think, by the end. It was a case of, you know, it was a slow burn to start, and then he maybe realised he didn't want to do it anymore, or lost interest. That's the only thing with Ryan Murphy stuff, the longer running shows, and what tends to happen. He's too busy. He's doing so many projects, I think, that they always start off strong, and then they kind of, I tend to find anyway, and then they fade a little bit. I think that's what happened with Pose a little bit. But I still enjoy it for what it is. I think it's a great cast, great characters. You know, some of my favourite characters. What's her name? I can't remember her name. It's been a while since I watched it. Just the woman that reads everyone's at filth.
But I'm still calling the cops. Good, because you should be arrested for showing yourself in that ratty old house dress. Now run home, Wonder Bread, and take your ugly dog too. This ain't the yellow brick road, bitch.
Okay, next up, another big G of mine, one of my favourites. Jennifer Saunders is my comedic hero. So we got French and Saunders and Ab Fab. I'm going to put French and Saunders about there, I think, yeah. I love both of them. I've grown up on both of them. Friday Night Dinner. Right, where would I intend to put this? I'm going to put this in to serve a shout out. I think it's a fun little, and this one, People Just Do Nothing. Let's bunch those two together. Very similar kind of formulas every episode and every season. Maybe People Just Do Nothing changes it up a little bit. But, you know, the concepts for Friday Night Dinner is very simple. It's like a family getting together, two sons joining the parents, you know, for Friday night dinner. And shenanigans happen every episode. But it's fun, it's cute, it's kind of harmless humour, really. And People Just Do Nothing, same sort of thing. Based around like a pirate radio station, and just Both of them, you know, by seasons 3, 4, you're kind of like, alright, it's fine. I stick with it, you know, I enjoyed them, I stick with it, but yeah, I'm not going to harp on about it more than that. It deserves a shout out. Alright, yeah, now we have 2 big G's in the comedy genre. 2 of my faves. Ab Fab goes into MVP. Yeah, sorry, Dharma. And same for Fawlty Towers. Yeah, Fawlty Towers, they get that MVP spot. Yeah, so Only Fools and Horses and Fawlty Towers, just sort of comedy I grew up on. Very kind of, I don't know, just very classic British humour. Yeah, I love to go back and watch these. You know, Fawlty Towers, I do. Only Fools and Horses, you know, there's some, because there's so many of them, there are some clanger episodes in there. Some of the one-offs don't hit, and the later ones. Overall, you know, yeah, it's a great show. And to the other end of the scale, what's it? Big Bang Theory's got to go into there. Lost interest for me. That's one that just, yeah, it doesn't age well. It just, and even when I was kind of watching it, I was only really watching it because Penny was quite hot. It was fine. It had its moments. There's some funny moments. Yeah, it doesn't do it for me, unfortunately, anymore. And when it did, it wasn't really. Fleabag, one of the very first shows I reacted to on here. Will I watch Fleabag again? I didn't love it. Plot twist. It was alright. I didn't, you know what, I'll go deserve a shout out. I think it's probably a bit harsh to stick it in there. Lost interest. I watched it all. Brass Eye. Oh, Brass Eye. Oh, God, yeah. Brass Eye is another of those classic kind of noughties, you know, early noughties kind of humour. It's very clever, Brass Eye. I'm not, like I say, in these smaller ones, I'm not going to go too into it. I'm going to go, it deserves a shout out. Same with this one, Black Books. Again, not one I've watched in a while, but I do remember quite enjoying this one. So I don't think it goes quite up into the higher things, but let's put it about here. That 70s show, it's got to go in there, Lost Interest. I'll put it at the top, so you know it's tipping into that. Maybe deserves a shout out. A lot of characters I like. I love Kitty. She's one of my favorite characters. And Red, actually. Yeah, I think it just overstayed its welcome a little bit for me, and I've never finished it. I always dip out around season 3, 4, I think. Smack the Pony. Now this is another of those that people are like, quirky British 2000s kind of comedies that I sort of grew up on. Ooh, is this top tier or is this MVP? I love this show. It's so random. And it's just random little sketches and things. Some of them will hit, some of them won't. Some of them are just too random and you're like, what did I just watch? Whereas some of them are just so funny. So stupid. It's stupid in essence. So yeah, if you just like to get lost in a bit of silly comedy, give it a go. I think Friends is similar to Fleabag. I think I've got to give it the nod for what it is, and it gets a bit more for me because I did used to love this more back in the day, like again, early 2000s. I can't say I will ever go back and watch it from beginning to end. I can pretty comfortably say I won't do that. It was fine. It was fine for what it once was, but I'm not gonna kiss its ass much more than that. But also not gonna kick its ass much more than that. Does Derry Girls tip into MVP? I'm going to put it around there. I think it's one of the best, more recent ones. Again, I'm not sure. I'm being very conservative with my MVPs at the moment. So at the end, you know, I might have to do a bit of a reshuffle. So there's hope for it. But at the moment, yeah, it's reserved for top tier. But I do love it. It's a very good show. Now the IT crowd, the IT crowd, whatever you want to call it. That's in top tier as well for me. Another of my faves. So funny. Moss is one of my favourite comedic characters ever. Alright, now we're on to like the kind of period kind of dramas. The Tudors. I love the Tudors. Do I put this in MVP, you know? I might have to put this in MVP. Again, like I've said with MVP, I'm not claiming this is the best Henry VIII or the Tudors kind of programme ever, because it's not. There is a lot of inaccuracies. Henry VIII was no Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Like, that's for sure. I just really enjoy it. I really like the flow of it. I think it flows really well. There's only 4 seasons, and I think there's maybe 8 episodes a season, something like that. So it doesn't go on forever, and we don't get a season per queen and wife, and I give it a big shout out. I like to rewatch this at least once a year. Just one of my faves. Don't know why, just enjoy it. Bridgerton let's go, deserves a shout out. Bridgerton deserves a shout out. Won't faff about too much with Bridgerton. And another kind of royalty show. So we got The Crown. Recently watched season 5. Bit of a slow season. I think the first couple of seasons were the best. I liked it when they changed, up the actors, for like a 10-year gap or whatever. But I think they're doing it a bit too frequent now. Like with this season, like we didn't need another Diana, for example, I don't think, personally. I think I've got to put it in deserves a shout out. I'm going to put it about here. I think it's very well made, and the acting's very good. But yeah, I think they probably should have done the Diana chapter this season. That's what I was expecting, it being the 90s. I thought, we're gonna close, the last episode would be closing the Diana kind of chapter, so to speak. But that they're dragging that out another season, and that'll be next year, and it's like, I don't know if I can be arsed personally. All right, Anne with an E. Shame this one got cancelled. I was gutted this one got cancelled. I was going to react to this very early in the day, and then I just didn't. And I enjoyed it. I think it's a cute little kind of show. Does it go top tier or deserve a shout out? I'm going to put it in deserve a shout out, I think. I think I'm least likely to sit and watch it all again for a while. But I liked, how they brought in some modern issues, and, I can't remember her name, the old woman, who was gay. I really loved her character, and yeah, so, some great characters and some great moments, but yeah, I'll give it that shout out. Yeah, and another Netflix one now, The Queen's Gambit. I actually really enjoyed that. And I've watched this a few times. It's short, it's sweet, it's easy. Yeah, I'm going to stick this sort of around here. In top tier. I really enjoyed that one. The Last Kingdom or The Lost Kingdom? The Last Kingdom, I think. This is one of those that every time I go to watch it again, I have to start from the beginning because I cannot remember. And I've not seen the most recent season. I think it's the last season. But I just know I have to start all again because I don't remember anything. I couldn't tell you his name. And yet I really like it. I'm ranking it high in top tier. It's really odd. I rank it. It's great. It's very well made, and I really enjoy it when I'm watching it. But I can't remember a bloody thing 6 months after I've watched it. I couldn't tell you anything apart from it's about Vikings, and there's like betrayal at the beginning and stuff. So, yeah, make of that what you will. Right, Downtown Abbey, which is a weird one. It wouldn't be my sort of show at all, I wouldn't think. Very slow. It is just basically a lot of people just walking into different rooms of a big house and kind of going, oh, okay. And then just little dramas being, big dramas being made out of little things. But I really like it. I like it enough to kind of, put it around. I think I'd more likely to sit down and watch Downtown Abbey again, I think, than The Crown. Maggie Smith is just, I bow. She's one of my main pulls to go back to it. Like, I actually don't like a lot of the characters. I can't stand, I forget her name, one of the sisters, like the main sister. Can't stand her, she does my nut in. But I like the servant stuff mostly, all that stuff. Yeah, it's just, again, I like kind of easy things that you can, alright, maybe when you watch them the first time, you got to pay a bit of attention, but then you can stick them on again on a quiet day. Right, okay, Peaky Blinders. Again, have not seen the most recent season. What's going on? I rank this one a little bit higher. Let's go. I do think he does well. I think it has dropped in quality, and it's not going to be the same without Polly. I know that much. That's going to be emotional. Yeah, it's another one I do definitely put in top tier. Sons of Anarchy. Oh, see, that's another tough one. Start strong. I have watched it from beginning to end. I'm going to put it at the top of deserves a shout out. you know, I think the first 3 sort of seasons are great, and then it does sort of, it starts getting a bit, but then, you know, you're going to expect that with shows like that, and I wasn't keen on the ending. I will probably watch it again from beginning to end one day, but I think it definitely deserves, you know, a shout out, and I do think it is a top quality show. So next up, we have got Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai Never Dies. This is a decent one. This is one where I didn't think I'd enjoy it. You know, I saw it on Netflix and I was like, oh, let's just give it a go. I think when it was maybe 3 seasons in, really enjoyed it. Ended up binging it in a couple of days. I love the original films. You know, I'm an 80s kid. I think it's overstaying its welcome a little bit now, maybe, let's just say. I think we're chopping, you know, we're like, oh, she was good this season, now she's bad. Oh, he was, but, you know, we're doing a bit too much of that now, and it's getting a little bit silly. It was always a bit silly, but there was still kind of like, this is awesome. And now it's verging on like, ooh, a bit silly. Yeah, instead of putting it lower, I'm going to give it a higher mention. But yeah, just because it is, for me, overstaying its welcome a little bit now. And Gangs of London, this is one of my more recent watches, actually. I think there's a few episodes into season 2 now, which I haven't got round to yet. I actually really enjoyed this. Did I really, really enjoy it, or is it a bit... No, well, you know what? I'm gonna stick it in top tier. I think it's a really well made, really good fighting choreography. That's the word. Good cinematography, good acting, good cast. Storyline kept me interested. Right, so let's go with Ozark. No, Ozark's got to go in top tier, hasn't it? Ozark is a really good show. I really enjoyed Ozark. There's bits where it dragged for me in various seasons, some storylines. I always came back for Ruth. I love Ruth. That's why I'm not a big fan of the ending. But for the quality, you know, the dialogue and the storyline and the acting, the acting, oh my goodness, at times was phenomenal. So yeah, it's got to go up there for me, for sure. Right, Dexter. Oh mate, Dexter's a hard one. Like season 4 is such good television. It's one of the best seasons of television ever. And I think it started out reasonably strong, and then it just went. I do look out for Dexter, like on my streaming sites, and I haven't come across it for a few years now. I think I'm gonna put it in deserve a shout out. I probably will sit and watch it again, I think. So for that, yeah, I'll put it in deserve a shout out, but it's a very generous one. Gotham's another tough one. Gotham I put the same with kind of Dexter. Gotham's one where it's one of those shows where I wish it was the shorter seasons, because sometimes it really drags, and I think I dipped out maybe around late season 2. I'm going to put it into watch, because I don't know if it's fair enough to put it anywhere else. Alright, big gun coming up now. Finally something going on in this MVP. Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, one of my favourite shows of all time. Just phenomenal series. And oddly, it took me a few goes with Breaking Bad. It really did. I tried a couple of times, I think, with that first season, and when it was still going, I think, and I just couldn't get into it. And then I don't know, I think I must have just put my concentration into it and just sat and watched it all, and yeah, loved it. And I've watched it through maybe 2 or 3 times now. So yeah, I rank Breaking Bad as up there amongst some of the best, you know, just all of it, just cinematography, dialogue, acting, storyline, you know, everything makes sense, there's a point to everything, no loose threads at the end, just one great series, yeah, highly recommend. And Better Call Saul is obviously the kind of spin-off to that, from one of the characters. Now, I haven't seen, I think it's the last season. Again, it is one of those I'm going to have to go back because I've forgotten a lot, and I need to rewatch maybe the season before, or maybe even I might start it again and just watch from beginning to end. I think it's a bit more slower pace for me personally. Some say it's better, some don't. See, I'd watch American Horror Story over it. That's kind of the way I'm trying to do it. So yeah, I'd put it around the same sort of place as Ozark personally in kind of enjoyment level, but it's still, quality-wise, you know, it's still up there. The Handmaid's Tale, oof, gold. This is a tough one. See, I sat and watched this maybe was it earlier this year or maybe last year? It is a really good show. It is a really good show, but it is really hard going. Really hard going. Yeah. I'm gonna put it as a shout out. We'll put it around here. Now we are on to Mike Flanagan, I believe. Yes. To top it up, one of the best ones, Haunting of Hill House. Watched it on my channel. Scared the bejesus out of me. Do anything.
I'm not making excuses. I saw.
No. 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 Jesus fucking Christ. But I had a great time with it and I've watched it since, and it's a fantastic show. My favourite scary show ever. Just the whole package, everything that goes into making a show on screen and behind it is just so well done. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna brave enough. I highly recommend. And then you've got The Haunting of Bly Manor. That one is not quite as good, personally, I don't think, but I still really enjoyed it. I think that first season was so good, maybe Bly Manor gets a bit of an unfair shake, but it's still a very good show. Still a very good watch. And then another couple of his. So these two, the most recent one was at the Midnight Club and Midnight Mass. Both of these go into meh for me. I watched them both through. I reacted to Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass is fantastically made. Again, like I said with all of Hill House, all the same applies. But because I'm doing this to my enjoyment of it, I just did enjoy it. I'm the most atheist person you'll probably ever meet, and I can't be doing with any of it. To be honest with you, it did my head in. It just nothing connected. So yeah, but again, fantastic performances and all that sort of stuff. And I do like the vampire kind of element. I wish they'd done a bit more on that, and it might have saved it a bit more for me. And Midnight Club, that was a more recent one. There were some great scares in there and stuff, but I couldn't tell you how it ended, to be honest. I had it on in the background in the end because it just wasn't gripping me. So hopefully, the next one maybe we'll get back up to Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House kind of scares for me. I know we've got the House of Usher coming up, so I have to see how that one goes. Right, Game of Thrones. It's going into MVP. Come on. I know, the last couple of seasons, I'm with everybody, with the majority. The writing was awful. But everything else still hit for me. I think the acting was still phenomenal, and the cinematography, maybe not so much the long night or whatever it's called, the fight episode. But I've still got to give it props. It's still, that bad kind of final season. There was still enough in there to not completely ruin it forever. And then we got the kind of spin-off prequel, House of the Dragon. I really enjoyed it. I think with one season, is it a bit early and would it be a bit generous? Yeah, my enjoyment, I didn't enjoy this first season as much as I enjoyed Game of Thrones season 1, for example. But it's still a very high quality show, so I'm going to put it around here. I think there's potential for it to, be in that MVP when we got a couple more seasons down the line. But I need more time with these characters yet and to see how it kind of flows. It's got, like I say, a very different flow. Okay, so now I think we're getting into geishas. Queer as Folk UK version. I ain't fucking with American version. I think I tried it once and it was a no-go for me. Yeah, that's going straight to MVP, I think. It's got to. Again, maybe a lot of stuff outdated and, a few things are a bit like, oof. Nathan's 15, having it away with however old Stuart is. But I really like it. I like the humour, and this is another one I just like to rewatch every year, every couple of years. It's iconic lines, iconic characters.
Christ, what a journey! Loads of buggery. Would he shut the window?
Where's the do?
Sandra, leave me alone. I can't write it now. I can't. I'm at a funeral.
And then by the same guy, I forget his name. Oh, I forget his name. A more recent, and that's It's a Sin. I'm going to put that high. I'm going to put that top tier, because this one was a bit more, I won't say real, but a bit more like heavy hitting and a tough one. You know, it's a tough one to sit and watch again. You've got kind of like, right, let's go, prepare yourself, you know. But yeah, fantastic little a mini series this was. Okay, the L Word. I've actually forgotten to put the L Word Generation Q as well. I'll kind of put it all in one. I'm going to go deserves a shout out. Yeah, I love the L Word again. This is another early kind of mid naughty show that I really got into. Plot twist, I identified as lesbian before I realised I was trans and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, you know, this was a big show for me back at that sort of time. Yeah, really, some really great characters. I am one of the rare things known as a Jenny fan, a Jenny stan. Yeah, she was awful, but I kind of loved her. Yeah, probably not one I'd maybe watch from beginning to end, the original. Maybe, but there's still so many classic moments, though, and funny moments. And then you've got Generation Q, which is kind of a spin-off with some of them have come back. It's getting a bit, they're doing a bit, actually, what they do with Cobra Kai. And that's, one minute we love them, and then they decide to just go, nope, we're making this person a villain now. We're making them the antagonist. And, you know, they're doing that a lot. And these people are going to have an affair, and they're doing too much. It's like, I'll just let some people be happy. That stop messing, you know, they're doing kind of what they ended up doing by the end of L Word, which upset people, you know. Yeah, so yeah, long story short, L Word deserves a shout out, and Generation Q just. Right, oh god. Oh god, what do we do with you?
I'm sorry.
The trauma's still real, guys. Season 4, my god. This generally could go in any of these four. It really could. Like I say, it could literally be season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4. I think it's still a bit too raw for me, you know, to put it much higher. Yeah, I'm going to put it in deserves a shout out. Again, I could go off on a tangent about this and I'll start getting angry, so I'm not going to. Yeah, one of the worst endings I think I can think of, for me personally. It deserves a shout out for that earlier quality that we had, and Villanelle is one of the best characters and, you know, one of the best performances, so it gets some praise for me for sure, and I enjoyed it, you know, when it was at its best. And then The Wilds. So The Wilds was one, I watched the pilot on this channel, and then I kind of went into a bit of a... and I watched it in my own time, and it's been cancelled, I hear. Yeah, really, really strong first season, I think. Really enjoyed it, and then they brought the boys in, and they kind of... Which is fine, but because we got so attached to the girls in the first season, and we didn't get anything of them... The way that, yeah, if you're going to do that, I think you needed to bring the boys in maybe earlier in the first season, like, so we get that system. But we were too used to really enjoying the way the first season flowed, and then it just went, and I just couldn't get into them. Weighing it up, I actually haven't been able to finish this because I haven't been able to get hold of it. I think I've seen like maybe halfway through season 3, or did I get to a little bit of season 4? It's going in deserves a shout out anyway. I think it's but yeah, it's fun. It's not taking itself too seriously. Yeah, everyone's having fun. Everyone knows what they're doing, and they're just there to have a good time. You know, don't expect the best show ever, and you'll have a good time with it. It's basically the gist I kind of got with it. So yeah, and I'm gonna sort of say the same for Heartstopper. I think for me, I'm gonna put it around the same sort of mark. It wasn't for me, for my age, you know, it was a bit... I reacted to this on the channel, by the way. It did really well. It was my best well-performed video. Yeah, it would have been a really nice thing to have, so I'm glad that younger audiences can watch a show like this now, and, you know, I think it's great for that reason. But again, for me, personally, my enjoyment, it was cute and sweet, but I don't personally give it much more props than that in enjoyment level, if you get what I mean. But, in terms of what it is and what it means and how important it is, it definitely deserves that shout out. Xena's Gotta Go in deserves a shout out for me. Xena's around the same sort of place as Bad Girls. It was around the same sort of time. You know, I was struggling with life and things, and, you know, so I had these comfort programs, and these two were very kind of important comfort programs for me. But, you know, I don't class either as like amazing TV. You know, I don't think I've even finished Xena, and I do know how it ends. Maybe that's why I haven't finished it. But there's lots of just funny moments I remember. Callisto's one of my favourite antagonists of all times. I think she's brilliant. And there's just lots of funny stuff in it that I remember. But there's also a lot of slower stuff. It is one of those 22, at least, episodes a season, which can be hit or miss, and they can drag. And, you know, some episodes can be absolute doozies. Really fun show, you know, really fun, silly, campy show. And then a recent one, another fun, campy show, more sort of on the comedy kind of side. And this is Our Flag Means Death. Now, this is only one season in and still going, but I am going to stick this into top tier, I think. I'm going to give this a bit more credit, because I actually really enjoyed it. I think it was good fun. Some great characters. Again, kind of like Heartstopper. Just refreshing, just to see just queer characters and trans characters just kind of be like, you know, just kind of exist, and it's not a big deal, really. It just kind of is. Okay, Atypical. Atypical, I'm going to put in, deserves a shout out, probably around there. It's finished now, isn't it? I can't even remember how it ended. Yeah, I wasn't so keen, I don't think, on the final season. Yeah, some storylines dipped, some things were repeating a little bit, but I had a good time with it, you know, is sort of where I put that. Right, and RuPaul's Drag Race. I kind of put the whole franchise as one. I couldn't be asked to do All Stars and UK, and seasons 3 to 8 were the peak for me. They're my favourites. I actually don't think I haven't seen the most recent main. They are hashing them out a little bit quick for me now, just a little bit. And I've kind of, yeah, I'm struggling to keep up, and I haven't enjoyed them as much. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to put it in deserves a shout out. I still think it's good fun, and I think it's great what it's doing, you know, a great show and great showcasing all these great talents and all this sort of thing. And it's getting more inclusive as well now, with, you know, a lot of trans people and stuff. But yeah, I just think they are coming out just a little bit too quick now, and I'm struggling to keep up, and I've dipped out a little bit of the interest. I think maybe 3-4 years ago, I probably would have had it more up here. Sex Education, I'm going to put around here as well. Deserves a shout out. Again, another one that's just, for me, just starting to struggle a little bit and not quite hold my attention as much and my interest. Alright, we've got a few now actually that I can all kind of do in one go, which is nice. So we're going to put you there. Some people are hating me right now. You there. And you there. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got Lost, Prison Break, Mad Men, Homeland, and Misfits. Yeah, Lost and Prison Break started really strong, really great first seasons. Yeah, okay, second seasons, and I just dipped out after that. I just saw, we're doing the same thing. It's all the same. And I just lost the interest. Homeland, I think, was a good show. I was enjoying it, and again, I don't know, maybe there's a bit more hope for Homeland. Let's put Homeland a bit higher, like at the top. Maybe there's hope to go back to that, because it was good. And it didn't lose it completely. My interest just started to dip around season 3. And these two I have finished, Mad Men and Misfits. Just didn't do it for me. I don't know how I sat through Mad Men, actually, because it's not my show at all. I just must have been like that kind of just sofa bound, and yeah. But I couldn't tell you anything about it apart from just I wasn't keen. Orange is the New Black, which is another prison drama. I personally prefer Bad Girls. I think the thing with Orange is the New Black, it did kind of do what Bad Girls did. It kind of it kind of had that balance well between humour and grit, like those first couple of seasons. And then it could never quite make up its mind, I don't think, personally, of what it wanted to be. Like, one minute it was really gritty and, like, really dark, and then it was, like, really campy and silly, and the balance just wasn't never as good as it was in that first season between the two. Yeah, it dipped out. I will probably maybe sit and watch it again one day, but it did fade out for me. But there are some great characters in it, and the acting was great. The music was phenomenal. So it definitely deserves that extra mention. Line of Duty, I actually haven't finished this one. I'm going to put it in deserves a shout out. So it could quite easily probably tip into that mere lost interest, but I'll give it a bit more because I do see me sitting and watching it. Luther, similar sort of place, I think. I probably wouldn't have mentioned this if not for Alice. I think Alice is one of the best characters ever, at least in a kind of drama show. Right, next up, right, we haven't had a top tier for a while. Prime Suspect. Oh, it's fantastic. This is the UK one, like the main Prime Suspect. Helen Mirren. Yeah, I mean, I could waffle about Prime Suspect, but if you like gritty kind of whodunits, really kind of getting stuck really into these crimes and these kind of, like, there's murders and things like that, and it's dealing with things, that are still issues today. There's one, that's dealing with racism in the police force. There's one that's dealing with, like, drag queens and transgender characters, and this was in the 90s. So, yeah, really, really great kind of gritty show. Let's go top tier for Sherlock. Just Moriarty, absolutely. Again, the character keeping me invested. I don't think that last season was as strong, but it still deserves. It still gets that bit more for me. Okay, and this one sort of represents. This is The Stranger. This is on Netflix. I can't remember his name. I want to say Harlan something. Harlan Coben. Like they do a lot of shows based on his, like, books. I think it's a he. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to put that in deserves a shout out. This kind of represents kind of all of them. I didn't want to do them all because we'd be here all day. But The Stranger for me is probably the best out of all of them. But they're really good. They're often on Netflix. So yeah, check them out if you like a good kind of gritty, normally a whodunit kind of thing. And another really good one that you may or may not have heard of that I'm actually going to put in top tier. And that is Criminal. It's basically you're set in the interview room, and we're in the interview room, like, watching a suspect be interviewed about various crimes. It's a different crime every episode. But yeah, really good, really interesting. They're not all, because it's a different kind of crime each episode. Some are a bit but definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch for sure. Broadchurch. I'm going to put Broadchurch in deserves a shout out, I think. That first season especially. And talking of amazing first seasons, True Detective, which is kind of, I'd sort of say is, yeah, like the American equivalent probably, but in worse, better quality. I'm going to put True Detective in MVP. Now, for True Detective, I've tried to start the second season a couple of times and I just haven't got invested because that first season is so good. Like, it's really good. Really, really good. Like, one of the best series of TVs ever. And I don't think it's that the second season's bad. It's just that because of that first season was so good, I just couldn't get into it straight after. Another top one, which has got to probably go around, the same sort of... Yeah, Mindhunter. Phenomenal. I'm so gutted this got cancelled. But yeah, this was so good. Looking at profilers, and how that got started up, and like the main profilers, and the way they did the criminals was so good, and the actors that portrayed them, and yeah, I'm really, really gutted this one. There won't be any more of this one. So yeah, Black Mirror's a bit like American Horror Story. It's another... In fact, yeah, you know what? I'm going to put Black Mirror. It is very similar to American Horror Story, and that is, each episode's different. So I'd probably rank it about the same in top tier. Like, every season has, like, a really... Maybe not the last season, the most recent, but most seasons have a really strong one. And then the later ones have 2 or 3, maybe duffer ones, not so good, not so strong. And then you've got kind of middle ground. Right, Buffy. Okay, we're getting to some big guns now. Buffy, let's put you about there. Been a favourite of mine for a while. Yeah, really strong show. I started kind of trying to do a rewatch on the channel earlier in the year, and it wasn't really taking off, so I sort of dipped out. But yeah, I love this show. It's one of those, you know, a lot going on, a lot of episodes, and not everyone hits, and some storylines don't, and some seasons are stronger than others. Some great storylines, some not so good, but overall, it deserves for what it was, and for what, you know, for, I think, cult classic, it deserves that MVP status for sure. At least for me personally. Yeah, Buffy, a fantastic show. And obviously the kind of spin-off to that was Angel, which, because I think my love for Buffy, I think I tried a couple of times over the years to watch an episode here or there, and I couldn't vibe with it, because I never really... Angel was alright, but I wasn't particularly sold on him as a character. And then this one is Dark, which is another fantastic series, which I probably, I put high as well. Really good, really confusing. Like, it's an odd one for me, because you've probably tell by the way I've described things now, I really struggle with my attention. Something's got to grip me from the go, otherwise, you know, it's going to end up just kind of being, you know, it's going to fall off my radar, or I'm going to lose interest. You know, a character's got to grip me, get me invested. And yeah, this one did, and it could have gone either way. But yeah, really fantastic show. But like I say, you have to pay attention. If you miss 5 minutes, you're not going to know what the hell is going on. It's worth it. It's worth a watch, and it's not majorly long, so that only has to hold your concentration like over a weekend. Oh, right, the 100. That's got to be a Met. Lost interest. I put it around there. Yep. You probably noticed by now, like I said earlier, I did used to identify lesbian back in the day, before I worked out, you know, it was a gender thing, not a sexuality thing. Yeah, and I dipped out around season 3, episode, I can't remember, 8 maybe. Yeah, people will know what I'm chatting about. Once Upon a Time. Whee! And now this is where everyone's going, nope, you're mental, I'm out. No, I am a oncer. I love Once Upon a Time. I've talked a lot about comfort shows, but Once Upon a Time, yeah, has been one for a while now. Had a recent rewatch. It's just wholesome, like, fun. You know, again, like I've said with all these, I'm not claiming it to be the best TV show ever. I love it. It's just got a place in my heart, you know, and I love the characters. It's just harmless, silly, kind of fun, really. And
We need to find cover.
No. I don't run from monsters. They run from me.
don't take it all so seriously. Get lost in magic and, you know, fantasy for a little while. You know, if you watch a lot of TV, you definitely need one of those shows to pop up every so often. And The Witcher. Oof. He's leaving, isn't he? He's obviously, I mean, after that last season, I'm not majorly surprised. The thing with The Witcher is it's fantastically made, but I just think that, like, the dialogue, especially last season, just fell off a lot, and some of the storylines, you know, I don't know what they did to Yennefer. She was like, I don't know, they just made her into like this kind of foul mouth kind of, I don't know, it's really odd. And I didn't like a lot of the other Witchers that they introduced. You know, they just felt like really bad NPCs a lot of the time. He's got to get that shout out for the action scenes, but I feel bad for Henry Cavill, because I think he really wanted it to be, you know, I think he put a lot of time and love into it, and I don't think they're taking it as seriously as he is, and he's obviously put his hands up and said, all right, I'm not winning this one, am I? So I'm going to dip out. And then we've got Squid Game, which is, I'm not sure when the next season is out. I'm going to put it in deserves a shout out, I think. I might bump some of these up or have a look. Right. You know, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of surprises. You didn't really know what was going on with it. Did I react to it? Yeah, I did. But my worry is with a new season, what was so good, I think, about it was the element of surprise. like getting invested and then being like, you know, like episode 6 obviously was like, wow. For anyone that knows what I'm talking about, you know, very hard hitting and like a shock. That shock element's gone now. You know, it's going to be maybe a bit like similar to the Wilds. It's going to be a really new formula. And is it going to work or is it not? So, yeah, we'll have to see. There's this, for now, yeah. For now, I give it that high, deserves a shout out. Big G time. Black Sails. I reacted to this show on the channel. Absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal. Like, I was surprised. It's you've got to persevere with it for a few episodes, you know, for that first season especially. And then it just, you know, where a lot of these I've been like, oh, it kind of, this just goes, woo! Amazing. It's in MVP. It's my favourite show ever, I think. Is it? Do I prefer it? Yeah. So yeah, like season 1, it is a slow burn, and I think it's unfortunate. I think a lot of people probably give it up very early and they don't stick with it, and I think that's a shame. You know, if someone says, oh, what's your most underrated TV show? This is it. Like, most people haven't heard of Black Sails, and I know for a fact there's people, you know, my brothers and stuff, like, I'm always like, bro, watch it. You know, well, what should I watch? Watch Black Sails, please. Someone, so I can talk to them about this amazing show. Fantastic show. Yeah. Is that enough? Have I kissed his ass enough? Okay, Umbrella Academy. Let's put low top tier, I think. Similar thing. Starts off strong. It's a very common thing with Netflix shows, I think, ongoing. They start off very strong, and then the quality does dip a bit, or the storylines start to suffer, or, you know, things like that. It just doesn't, they don't seem to quite, not all of them, but a lot of them don't seem to quite hold up in those later seasons. I thought the last season, you know, the most recent one, it was fine. But it was just a bit all over the place storyline-wise. But again, it's one where I like the characters enough that I can laugh along with them, or get a little bit invested in a side plot, even if it doesn't really make enough sense, you know. And then Stranger Things. Oh, I said that really weird. Stranger Things. Now, even though I do kind of say the same with Stranger Things, it is that roller coaster thing again. I do think the quality holds up a lot more. I think it's good. I think we're finally getting to that last season. I think it's a good place to stop it. I think we are dragging things out a bit now, so it's going to be a long wait, which is a pain. But I do think the last season was a lot stronger. And even when the storyline dips, again, it's another one where even if the storyline's not quite doing it, it's amazing special effects, cinematography, and all the rest of it. So, you know, the music's always really good. So that'll keep you invested. Oh, and one more, Orphan Black. Tatiana Maslany absolutely kills it. I said I wanted 20 in the MVP. Does Orphan Black get a space in MVP? I think it does, actually, you know. I really like Orphan Black. The ending's alright, bit meh. The characters are great. She just has a great time with it, Tatiana Maslany. So, I'm gonna rank that one high. 17. Three more can get an MVP spot, that means. Right, let's see. Right, American Horror Story. I was Umin and Nar in it. Let's give it its place. Better Call Saul. 2. French and Saunders, maybe. Yeah, fuck it. Let's put French and Saunders up there. Yeah. Alright, yeah. So, bit of a little change at the end there. So, yeah, we bumped up French and Saunders. Bumped up Better Call Saul. Give Orphan Black the little mention up there. So, that's my rankings. Like I say, this is just my personal enjoyment and, you know, how I sort of rate the shows. I tried to mention, you know, if I don't like it, but I know it's a well-produced show and things like that. And there's obviously, I haven't mentioned every single show I've ever watched because this alone took ages. We'd be here all bloody year. But these are like, when I thought these were all the main ones that came to my mind. And I didn't focus on, you know, things I really dislike, things I hate. You know, I obviously had a little mention of things that I kind of wanted to give a shout out. But if I do like stuff I tried and just really didn't like at all, you know, you've probably noticed there's not many like American kind of sitcom-y things, or I really struggle with like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Brooklyn, you know, things like that. I really struggle with them. It's just not my sort of comedy. So yeah, you won't see any of them, and I haven't got started on my Marvel journey yet. So there's nothing there. There's none of them shows. You know, which might be something I do for the channel. The movies anyway. I don't know about shows anymore. I think I'm probably gonna not bother with shows in terms of reactions anymore, because it's just too much of a gamble. But yeah, that's my list. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. You know, what you rank, and if any of these pop up in any of yours as well. Obviously, no two of us will be the same. But yeah, let me know if any of my tops are your tops, or yeah, you know, all that sort of stuff. So let me know what you think and what your favourite shows are. And yeah, obviously any recommendations from things you've heard me say about shows, like, oh, I like this because of this and this, and you go, oh, you might like this. Yeah, you know, let me know, and I'll have a look. I'll add it to the ever-expanding to-watch list. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, sorry it has been a while. Like I say, it's, yeah, been a few months, so I've just kind of been grinding, getting on with it. But I thought I'd do this. I did want to, you know, say a thank you, you know, because I have got over that 500 subscriber threshold. So, yeah, I wanted to mark that for sure, and do a little one-off thing. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Take care, and I will hopefully catch you soon. Peace out. Bye. Here we go.